Welcome to the Booker's Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Booker's Alliance podcast, where today we are going to talk about Finish Him.
All right, finishing moves. That's what I'm talking about. I love finishing moves. Finishing moves ain't the same as they used to be back in our childhood, but
no, that is true. Man, we have to start the episode on that truth bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is. We gotta
just a little bit there, Frank.
Yeah, we definitely get. I mean, it's just kind of the fact of the matter. So let's get it out of the way now, so we can have fun with the episode. But yeah, finishers in 2023 ain't the same as finishers in 1992. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let's break that point down for just a minute. So, what we're referencing about there is, back when we were kids, you saw somebody take the Tombstone Pile Driver. They were dead.
Oh, they were dead. They literally went in a body bag after the Tombstone Pile Driver.
You saw somebody take a DDT.
Oh, they were
dead.
Snakes could crawl across their bodies. They had to get stretchered out. You didn't get up. You didn't come back the next week. You were out.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're referencing there. And then today, it takes 711 DDTs to even get a 2 count.
Could you imagine if Hulk Hogan was wrestling today and he tried to drop the big leg and get a 3 on somebody? I mean, come on now. My Lord. First of all, the match would go on forever because there just isn't no way out of it. I mean, second, how many big legs? You'd have to drop like 5 big legs consecutively. So, I mean, you'd have to have like 4 Hulk Hogans in your backpack and drop 5 legs at the same time to maybe knock out a Young Buck.
And then you got, MJF using the headlock takeover.
I mean, there's always that. That's a devastating move, though.
That's deadly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, you get your equilibrium.
I can remember back in college wrestling around with people, and you would take them over in a headlock takeover. Well, because we weren't bumpers and all that, it probably really did hurt some of those guys. But I mean, hey, it was a leverage move. You have to take advantages where you can get them.
So we're gonna start this list off hot. We're going to talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Stunner.
All right.
So, the
Stunner?
Yeah, well, hey, KO's carrying the torch now for that move. So, that's the move that can come out of anywhere, quick as lightning. And, it was devastating when he put that on there.
Absolutely. And I mean, and akin to that, we can't forget the RKO.
The RKO.
Or the Diamond Dallas Diamond Cutter.
Yeah, the Diamond Cutter. Yeah.
Those kind of lived in the same vein. They were very similar, moves when they came out. But, I mean, both devastating, both come out of nowhere. So, great moves.
Yeah.
Great way to start.
So, Austin had the kick to the gut, if you were lucky, because to hear him tell it, he kicked many a man in the nuts trying to get that move over.
I mean, I can remember seeing somewhere he completely missed. He kicked nothing. His foot just went up there, and then all of a sudden he was rolling right on into a stunner. Or you can remember, where a guy would get kicked and the whole stunner would go to hell because the guy was crunched over trying to keep his man punch in.
Yeah, so Austin takes our starter there with the stunner.
That's what happens when you drink too many beers before your match.
Absolutely. We're going to move into one of the craziest pile driver inventions ever seen, which was the Tombstone Pile Driver.
Tombstone Pile Driver.
Done by
him.
Done by the Undertaker and Kane.
And countless others. I mean, Owen Hart did one to Stone Cold Steve Austin that Stone Cold still ain't kicked out of completely.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, so the Tombstone's always been around. The Young Bucks, they do a variation of it now with their off the top rope jump, kick, stomp, Tombstone that never beats anybody. It's amazing. So that kind of bleeds back into our original. When the Undertaker did it, no one kicked out.
Nobody kicked out of it.
Probably for the first 20 years of him doing it, it never got kicked out of. Now everybody kicks out of a Tombstone.
Yeah, we've seen him deliver that move to just some big individuals that you didn't think he'd be able to get them up, but he got them up for that move. But that's one of those moves, though, where it takes your opponent giving just as much as it does the person giving the move.
Yeah, because if you go dead stick, I mean, you're not picking nobody up like that.
No.
Undertaker's a strong man, but you ain't picking nobody up and dropping them like that. And then for the person taking it, if you go dead stick and you don't tuck your head a little bit, you're Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, or hold the waist there.
Yeah, so
a la Goldberg.
That's definitely, oh, good Lord. That's definitely a move that is give and take.
Yeah. We will move on to our next one on the list here, the rock bottom.
The rock bottom, the manhandle slam.
The manhandle slam.
All right. That's going to be a theme today. We're just going to talk about like kind of the new variations of the moves. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so, it's kind of the passing of the torch with these moves and everything else. But especially with the Rock, the way that he lifted you up and kind of just, you knew that when you come down on that mat, it was going to hurt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and he would drive you, he would go down with you and all that.
I was over here flat out.
Yeah, I was over here giving my mic a rock bottom when you brought it up. I got so excited the move.
About it.
Rock bottom my mic there for a second. Lord.
But he had
kicked out though. It's still going.
He had a special way of landing that maneuver. And Becky Lynch.
What a maneuver.
I
love that.
Becky Lynch has got the same kind of style going on, but the way that she does it's a little bit different. Yeah. She doesn't go down with the opponent, but she's still got the oomph in behind it.
Plus, a lot of other guys they've done the move too. It's been called a variation of
the spinning solo.
Yeah, the spinning solo. A lot of different guys got a different way of doing it. So but it stands the test of time. It's still a solid move.
Yeah. Moving on to our next one, the power bomb.
The power bomb, the jackknife power bomb.
so definitely a lot of variations.
The Vader bomb.
The sit out power bomb.
We could be the Batista bomb. I mean, we could be doing this forever.
But the cool thing about this is, you're just lifting the opponent up and just trying to put them through the mat.
Yeah, you just drive them down. And for the opponent, it's basically a flat back bump. Now, depending, if you're Kevin Nash and you're going from 7'2", or you're Rey Mysterio and you're going from 5'4", it's still a devastating move when it hits. And even still today, Gunther is using the power bomb on a regular basis.
Yeah, and for those out there taking the power bomb, just a word of advice from us wrestling fans, KO, you don't have to take it on the steel steps, man.
Oh, good Lord. Or you don't have to take it on the side of the
ring apron.
Right, the only hard part of the apron. It doesn't have to be done there.
No, KO, quit taking that bump, man. That's crazy. I want to see you wrestle for years to come.
Yeah, do more pop-up power bombs. Stop taking power bombs.
But, even Goldberg had a variation of the jackknife bomb. It wasn't a power bomb, but it was kind of would you call it a suplex?
Yeah, that was a suplex.
Suplex?
The jackhammer, that was a suplex.
Yeah. So moving on to our next one, according to Frank here, is the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling history, the Hulk Hogan leg drop.
Oh, my God. That's it. Hulk Hogan, what a maneuver.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
That leg drop put down Andre the Giant.
I'm over here with my whole Shannon Sharp face going, no.
King Kong, buddy, Paul, Mr. Wonderful, Lord, Ravishing Rick Rude, all the big names fell to the mighty.
The only reason why
Ric
that
Flair.
leg drop worked is because in the back, before they came out to the ring, Hogan said, "That don't work for me, brother."
That could be too. Hogan's backstage politics was his finishing move.
There you go. That we can agree on.
The match was won in the locker room way before the bell rang.
Obviously, we're talking shit about this finishing move, but
even Hogan himself said, he said he always bragged about having the largest arms in the world. He said even then he should have been doing a sleeper with those big arms, and he wouldn't have had to have 700 back surgeries from doing the big legs. So, but devastating move as it was, probably wasn't the best career move. So
no, definitely not. So moving on to another finishing move that, a little bit more legit, the spear.
The spear, the Roman Reigns spear, the Goldberg spear, the Edge spear.
The Charlotte spear.
Good Lord, we could spear all day long here. But, that move, when it's done correctly, the guys that use it as a finisher and they kind of cut you in half with it when they hit you, it looks devastating. It works.
Yeah, so two of the greatest spears that I've ever seen. I saw Edge do the spear off the top into Jeff Hardy hanging from the belt in midair. That was a very, very cool spear.
Definitely.
And then I believe there was another one here recently in AEW where they just kind of speared him in midair. I can't for the life of me remember who it was, but I do remember just seeing that image of the dude being speared in midair, and you're going, dude, is he okay?
Yeah. There was a lot of those. I mean, when Goldberg first, so Goldberg was probably the originator of the move. I mean, I think we could probably.
It's a running shoulder tackle.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of guys that came from football that, did that tackle, throughout, but nobody made it their their signature move, I guess, is what Goldberg made it as. But,
Right.
When he got that, I mean, with the velocity he would hit it with, and then kind of the way he would pop up right back after and, do the throat slash or yell to the crowd, and then give the sign for the jackhammer, you just knew it was coming. And then you got a guy like Roman Reigns. I mean, he's put down so many people with the spear. I mean, the names on that list, my God, you got to count that as devastating of a finishing move.
So Roman's spear is a little bit different. Roman hits you, and it's just like him hitting a brick wall, and then he goes down.
Yeah, because he kind of dives into his
Right.
spear. Goldberg kind of runs through his spear.
I was about to say, if you've never seen a Goldberg spear, all you got to do is watch Bobby Lashley.
Yeah,
That's a Goldberg
They
spear.
run through. The
They
spear,
run
like
through them, and they flip and pop up after.
Yeah,
And it's like almost they're being shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Basically.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely Goldberg, the original. I would say he's the originator of the spear.
I
would
give
go
him
with
credit for that one.
Yeah, we'll give him that. Moving on to the legend, the man who just would pick a body part, wear you down, and then put you on the mat, wrap you up like a pretzel in the figure four. Ric Flair's move.
Oh Lord, so that lives in the leg drop territory for me. I mean, did the figure four ever beat anybody? Like, is there anybody that you can remember that actually submitted? So not with brass knucks where they were knocked out, or not with somebody else holding Rick's arms. Was there anybody who just tapped out to the figure four?
Not that I recall.
No, probably not.
Not that I recall.
But the move was associated with Rick, and Rick was 16-time world heavyweight champion. So at some point, you got to say, hey, that figure four beat somebody.
Yep, and that move lives on. It lives on through two people. First, The Miz. The Miz carries that move on.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, his daughter.
Yeah, she does a figure eight.
Figure eight, which is where she bridges up. Now, I would have to say her figure four looks more painful.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I don't know how much as a kid you used to do the finishing moves.
We
but
tried it.
When I was a kid, I did all the finishing moves.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had to. I mean, when you're watching WrestleMania with your friends at 5:00 on a Sunday afternoon, you're in there doing the moves. So I've done a figure four, and I've been in a figure four, and those guys know how to work it. If you don't work it, it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. Definitely. So moving on to another submission move. The two guys made this move famous. Same move, different names. You got the sharpshooter or the scorpion deathlock.
Scorpion Death Drop. Sting with the Scorpion, Bret Hart with the Sharpshooter.
Yep. Both the same move. I will have to say that was one move that I got put in, and I never wanted to get put back in there.
No.
That
So
hurt
again, if
like
you
all
don't
kinds
get me,
of hurt on your lower back.
oh yeah, I was gonna say your back. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the legs.
No.
Your legs were fine coming out of that, but yeah, that lower back. If you didn't know how to work it,
Yeah.
and you got a kid that just wants to sit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that kid. If you let me up, this ain't gonna be wrestling no more. This is gonna be boxing.
I think one of the sickest sharpshooters or scorpion deathlocks that I've ever seen put on somebody. Charlotte put it on Sasha and bent her in half.
Oh yeah. So
Do you remember that?
yeah, I definitely remember that. I can go back even farther though. I remember when Bret Hart won the Intercontinental Championship from Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam '91, and I mean Bret was leaning and leaning,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
already
yeah.
knew Mr. Perfect could come into that match with a bad back. So the way he was leaning into it, now he may not have been twerking it, meaning Mr. Perfect might not even felt it, but the way it looked, I mean, because as he tapped out, Bret fell backwards because he was leaning back so far. You're looking at it like, oh my God, that guy's, his feet are going to touch the back of his head here.
All right, we'll move on to.
Although about that Sasha thing, I mean, man, she sure is flexible.
Wait. Nope.
Oh, okay.
We can't go down that road.
Sorry, I was
PG show.
I was
PG
just
show there,
daydreaming
Frank.
there for a second. My bad.
So moving on to the next one. This one's
Mercedes.
more. This one.
Oh, nay.
This one is more of a wrestler than a finishing move because they go in the same vein for me. It's the AA and the STFU.
There you go.
So, I mean, John Cena, his 5 moves of doom, those are 2 of them right there.
5 knuckle shuffle.
So with John Cena having the AA, it's just a fireman's carry. I mean, that's really what that is.
It's simply a fireman's carry. I mean, but you got to admit, when he's picking up Big Show and he's picking up guys.
Impressive.
That stature, you're like, okay, and then he still flexes them, it isn't like he just dumps them.
Yep.
A lot of guys like Saturn, take for example, or Tommy Dreamer, with his Death Valley driver, they kind of dump you and go with you. So, that's more about leverage, but John Cena just stands there and just kind of flips you off his shoulders. And I mean, that ain't easy. So
first time I seen him do that to Big Show, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. So
like, how strong is this dude?
In the same vein, that kind of goes in the leg drop, kind of goes in the figure 4. But, again, when you start looking at the names that John Cena put down with the move, you have to list it on that list. You can't get away from it.
And then the STF, whatever you want to call it, I like the way he called it STFU.
Yeah, it kind of worked because the AA used to be the FU.
The FU.
To counter the F5 of Brock Lesnar, which I think is on that list.
Absolutely.
All right.
But yeah, those were some cool moves from John Cena. But we're going to move on to this next finishing move. Unfortunately, this finishing move has been one of the most bastardized finishing moves of all time, and it doesn't hold the same vein that it used to hold back in the day. Not the leg drop.
Oh, damn.
Talking about the DDT. Talking about the DDT.
Oh, my God, the DDT. Yeah, I remember when Jake the Snake Roberts, it created that move. It looked like, just the snap he did it with, it looked like it was the most devastating thing. It looked like it would kill you.
Yep.
I mean, I'll never forget when he did it to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on concrete, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat literally looked like he was dead. I'm like, oh my God, he really, killed this guy. And I was a young guy too, the proverbial curtain hadn't been pulled back on wrestling so far as that you knew everything was a work and blah, blah. It looked like it was dead. Now, hell, everybody you get hit with 3 DDTs in a match, and I mean they don't even try and pin you after that. They DDT you to go into another move.
And not only are you getting hit by the DDT, but some of these people are getting hit by spiked DDT.
Yeah,
where you are getting dropped on the top of your head,
or you're getting hit with like a triple DDT. Like where the guy's got two guys under his arms. Or, it seems like back if Jake could have did that back in his day, he'd have been the tag team champions 500 times over. But
yeah, unfortunately, that's one of those moves that's just been bastardized, along with the super kick. That's just too many people kicking out of it.
And the leg drop. Don't forget about that. Man, you got people
working for that leg drop, ain't you?
Yeah.
You getting paid by Hogan over there.
Yokozuna did the leg drop to Hulk Hogan and put Hogan down for a clean 1, 2, 3. I mean, that was a devastating move. Now nobody respects the leg drop.
So speaking of respect, a man that carries some respect is good old Hunter and his finishing move, the pedigree.
Ah, there you go.
So with Hunter given the pedigree, of course, that's being carried now by Seth Rollins.
Yep.
He is doing
which makes sense.
It does make sense. The prodigy. But the pedigree, that move, when it first hit the scene, I mean, it's kind of like a DDT, but you're getting dropped on your face more than the top of your head. When
Triple H started in WWE, that move actually was bigger than him because, I mean, he wasn't a main eventer by any means when he started, but the respect that they gave to that move and nobody kicking out of it for so long, it was way before Triple H became a main eventer that move was a main event move.
And it was a move that also it can be hitting, somebody can hit that quick out of anywhere.
Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, it was the front kick starting the move, just like the stunner.
Yeah.
So it doubled your opponent over and then put the arms behind the back, head down.
Just drop them.
Yep. So definitely a cool move. Let's get into a tag team finishing move. So let's talk about the 3D.
Ah, yeah, the 1D. If you're from day one, then it's the 1D.
The 1D
definitely originated by the Dudley Boys. But yeah, the 3D. I mean, think about it. You've seen it off the ropes. You've seen it through tables. You've seen it through flaming tables. I mean, you've seen it on the floor. You've seen it everywhere. It's a move that they can hit from anywhere, but. And Bubba Ray talks about this all the time. They wanted to keep that move protected by giving it the respect of, nobody's kicking out of it. So when somebody finally does kick out of it, it's huge. And I mean, they were able to do that because that move was devastating. It wasn't the most complicated move by any
No.
means. It was basically Devon picks you up, Bubba kind of cuts you as Devon brings you down. It wasn't the most detailed move, but the devastation of it, because of the names they put down with it, is what makes that move a devastating move.
And I will say it's one of the slickest moves by a tag team, because the way that if you're a good enough fan and you've watched enough matches, you can start to see the ebb and the flow of the match.
Yeah.
And you can kind of follow along, and you know kind of where things are going to go. And you just know when Devon and Bubba got in that ring a certain way.
You can see that spot set.
You could see it coming, and you're like, oh, no, here it comes. It was just, yes, when it finally hit it.
Yeah, but once you're in it, there ain't no way out of it. If Devon scoops you, once
done.
you're in the air, you're going down with
You're
it.
done.
So if you haven't found a way to get out of it beforehand, it's over.
Even Mae Young.
Oh, yeah.
One time.
Mae Young took it hard.
Oh, I'm talking about Mark Henry?
She delivered that hard. Ooh, yuck. Anywho.
Moving on. Let's talk about another tag team finishing move, the Doomsday Device.
The Doomsday Device. I knew that's where we were going with that. The Road Warriors.
The Road Warriors.
Legion of Doom.
So when Animal picked you up, the only thing left to do was get your head knocked off by Hawk.
Yeah, and they literally did that. There was a lot of injuries that came out of that move because, you kind of, Animal would push your legs as Hawk would hit you.
Animal didn't fall back with you.
But if you didn't know how to rotate the right amount of weight, and when I say know how, there's no way in hell you know how to rotate. Your body only flips how it flips. You couldn't gimmick that one because you're sitting on some shoulders, and now you got to manufacture a backflip from a sitting position, and that ain't something that people do.
Yeah.
So Animal would give you that push on your legs, but if your body didn't over-rotate, you pretty much landed on your head.
And the worst one that I ever seen take that move was Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead after
I remember seeing a guy that did it that literally broke his neck. There's a bigger guy that they did it in WCW. There was lawsuits and all that came out of that. But yeah, they broke a guy's neck with it. But
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, that's when people started getting hesitant to take it. They're like, no, wait a minute, we're going to have to work this better or practice it. You're not going to practice it because, hell, you don't want to dump on your head before the match. So you just kind of got to go in there and hope for the best.
Yep. The next one we'll move into is a multi-variation finishing move, but we just classified it as the top rope splash.
Oh, yeah. That's thousands of different men have done it in hundreds of different ways.
Whether it's the frog splash, whether it's the 450 splash.
Essentially the moonsault.
The Jimmy Superfly Snuka splash.
Yeah, the Bronson Reed tsunami. And a lot of guys do splash, the RVD frog splash. Yep. The Montez Ford to this day is, the in the rafter splash.
I think he's my favorite frog splash that I've seen.
Yeah, out of frog splashes, yeah. The height that he gets. He's already tall and lanky, kind of how RVD and Eddie Guerrero, who did the move before, weren't. They weren't really tall and lanky. They were kind of, short and stocky. So when they did it, they jumped up, out, tucked, went down. Montez, because he's so tall and got so much spring in his legs.
Yep.
When he's hanging from the rack, he's up there in Owen Hart territory before he splashes, and it's like, my God, how high is this guy jumping? But
yeah, and then you got Jeff Hardy doing the Whisper in the Wind and the Swanton Bomb. KO's doing the Swanton Bomb.
He's doing the bullfrog splash too. Don't forget that one. Yeah.
You got what was the kid we saw from AAA and AEW the other night? Vikingo doing the 650 splash.
Yep.
Sammy Guevara 650 splash.
Can't forget Hornswoggle doing the tadpole splash. There's always a splash out there to be done.
Yeah, so a lot of
there ain't
people,
no difficulty to the move. You just
get
got to flatten out. Yeah, it's just like diving in the pool, So just as long as you don't fall awkwardly or fall wrong, you're pretty much going to execute that move.
Yep. And then moving on to the next one, choke slam.
Choke slam.
Everybody from Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, Kevin Nash.
If you're a big guy, you're doing a choke
slam.
Yeah, Scott Hall did the choke slam. If you're over 6'7", you're doing a choke slam one way or the other. It may not be your finish, but you're definitely doing it.
For me, the two of the best choke slams that I ever recall seeing. Big Show, Paul White. He's got a killer choke slam, of course, just from being so tall, coming from up that high. Kevin Nash had a great choke slam.
Yeah. He kind of drove you down.
Down to the mat.
He didn't carry you up real high, but he kind of drove you down. As far as choke slams, I'm probably partial to Kane.
Kane's choke slam.
Yeah, because Kane's choke slam was kind of his finish. That was his real finisher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm kind of partial to that because you knew when he hit that. You were wiped.
Yeah. So speaking of wiped, probably one of the most devastating finishing moves in history, the F5.
The F5. Oh, I mean, so there's other guys doing it. Like who is it? Doesn't Wardlow do an F10 now
F10
or something like that?
Yeah.
So that ain't as devastating. But when somebody Brock Lesnar's size and of Brock Lesnar's stature and strength is twirling you around like a damn helicopter top, yeah, it's going to hurt when you land. Because, I mean, he could torque you to whereas he could probably twist a couple of those guys around and around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that ain't going to feel good.
So let's stop right here with him and let's insert a statement. I think a lot of these finishing moves have to do with the performer who is giving the move.
Oh, absolutely.
So with Brock Lesnar doing the F5, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's who he is, his stature, his build, his attitude, just the persona of Brock Lesnar, knowing that dude's got you up on his shoulders and getting ready to spin you down and make you take a face bump into the mat.
Basically a splash.
So
a splash where you miss. Although that brings me to a question I've always had about the splash, because I love the move, but I don't understand, how do you, if you hit it, it's okay. You're fine. If you miss it, you're damaged, you're hurt, you can't get up. What's the difference? I mean, I feel like landing on a body would hurt a lot more than landing on the flat mat anyway, but...
So my good buddy Jimmy Pearson, he told me one time, he said, I never understood why Rob Van Dam chose the frog splash, because when he gives the 5-star frog splash, when he bounces, it looks like it hurts him more than it does the person.
It definitely don't feel good to anybody involved. So yeah, but yeah, like you said, Brock Lesnar doing the F5, you're basically just taking a flat face splash, but somehow or another, I mean, it puts you down. In the same vein of thought, though, when a guy the stature and size of a Hulk Hogan drops the big leg drop,
no.
I mean, you lay those shoulders down. You bend the knee.
See, there's some things that logic just don't work, man.
It's all the same. It's all relative.
It just don't work.
It's all wrestlative. These are wrestlers, and it's wrestlative.
But just connecting back to that point, if there was ever one man that I would never, ever want to take a finishing move from,
Hulk Hogan in the big leg.
Brock Lesnar in the F5.
So I don't want to take any moves from Brock Lesnar. I mean, just for the fact that...
You got a point. That's
just
true.
for the fact that, he probably benches my body weight, for lunch. No stretching, no nothing. He kind of just walks in the gym and kind of throws my body weight around with no problem. I want to take any moves from him, let's be honest. I mean,
All right, well, that kind of wraps up our list of finishing moves. We could be here all day if we talked about everybody's finishing move, and we don't want to disrespect any of the performers and what they're doing out there in the ring. We just don't have 8 hours to cut a podcast episode on.
And it's fun to talk about the moves that were great in the past that are still kind of being used now. We talked about some other moves like the bonsai drop and the heart attack from the Heart Foundation. We talked about but nobody's really using them anymore. Right. So we doesn't really lead for a great conversation, but I mean, those were devastating moves too that came from the past, but it kind of is what it is. So, we gave you what our list is. I'm sure somebody out there is thinking about some move right now that they say, this was the most devastating move in all time. And how did they not say it? Or why, how'd they forget that? Let us know. I mean, that's what social media is for. That's what everybody else does. They go out there and complain and moan and groan about something on social media anyway. So go out there and complain and moan and groan about how we forgot your favorite finisher and all that. Makes for great conversation.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you listening to our podcast. Thank you for everything that you guys do. And with that, everybody, we'll wrap up this episode and we bid you adieu.
Finish him.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.